Hi guys, it's Elsa here from Time to Invest. Update again on my channel, Time to Invest. Today is 2nd of September 2016, and I'm just bringing a little bit of update for what's going on with the economy. Like you all know, my channel is an open channel. I don't give advices. I talk about openly what's happening with the economy, with different concepts and different views. So I don't give advice to anyone. Just wanted to let that out first. So um, we getting close to the end. So what we have analyzed lately is that the Fed is stuck. Um, the Fed cannot do any more interest rates increase. So they've been talking about since last year, sometime July till December last year, 2015, that they were going to increase the rates, and the economy was recovery and da 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 da. That was in the United States and all the way to Australia, and so far we still no interest rates in the United States. So every time, okay, pardon. So every time the Yellen comes up, we all looking and thinking what's going on, what they're going to do now, because they can't put the interest rates up. So it's gone all over Europe. So the negative interest rates, it's creating a big problem for the productivity of Europe and Australia and worldwide. Is creating a big problem for productivity. So in order to stabilize the negative interest rate has to go back to normal, and the interest rate should have gone up already, so people can actually have a productivity, and the bonds can actually produce some income when you buy them, and when you put money on your bank, you will get interest rates on your bank. So yeah, so it would make sense. So at the moment doesn't make sense. So in the United States, if you put $1,000, so they're negative interest rates. In Europe they're negative interest rates. So if you put $1,000 in the bank, basically you lose maybe $200 from that $1,000 instead of gain, $200 more. So what's the point of people putting money in the bank? I don't know. That's the Fed's policy, and they should be answering that policy. They should be bringing something up at the moment, but as you all know, it does not make sense. So any wonder people are not keeping the money in the bank and they taking the money out, and they're buying gold and silver, which that's the best thing to do, and they're investing in business and other things that the money is actually moving around and flowing and bringing income, passive income to them, which is a great idea. So the people that don't know, they are still working and working every day. uh, they can still change things around. We're in the very end. We're in the very end leg at the moment, and but they can still change things around, but they have to be very quick, because this collapse, it might happen. Is forecast to happen, by the end of this year. But in my opinion, if not at the end of this year, will definitely happen in 2017. So I believe that we very end leg, and the Fed is showing signs of they can't do interest rates up, they can't bring the interest rates up. They've been talking about every time Yellen come out and talk about it, is always, oh, the market is doing down, this is doing that. But in the end of the day, everyone is expecting the interest rate rise, and there's no interest rate rise. So they can't put the interest rate rise. Look at the price of houses at the moment. So the houses are 600,000-700,000 at the moment. So we in Australia, the Fed in Australia had reduced interest rate a few times. So I believe the interest rate is something around 4.5, I believe. So if they put the interest rates up, I mean, it'll blow up people with $700, $700,000 mortgage. You just blow them up, because they can't afford. They struggling to making the payment now. Imagine if the interest rate goes up. So here, I think the interest rate will be going down even more. Um, So they keep saying that Australian is immune and Australian has got a very good policies, and we're very good compared with with Europe and other countries around the world. We are, but we are getting very very behind. And I don't know if you know, the companies that the Dick Smith company has gone bankrupt, and the Masters company just lost $1.5 billion in the recent weeks, and the company is selling all the assets, and it's going bankrupt. Woolies is not making much money. Coles is just getting by, and things are not looking very good. So what's happening at the moment, even the Macintosh were talking about, the Macintosh government was talking about the tax and the tax increase and what they have to do with taxes and things like that. So they're starting to preparing you about what's coming. So what's coming is, if you work in, depending whatever, as long as you on the working industry, you go to work every day, you are going to be paying more taxes. Simple as that. And there's no other way out. There's no other way to avoid it. They're just going to increase the taxes. And if you are working honest person and you work for a living and you have mortgages and childcare and business and things to pay, your taxes are going to go up. Now, if you have business, the thing is, yeah, your taxes might go up a little bit, but because as a business person, you can pass on the taxes and you can pass on the costs to the consumers. So your position is a lot better than if you are just working as an employee. And just going back, so that's what the video before this one had Robert Kiyosaki talking about what's happening with the economy and how the taxes are going to go up. And basically he was saying that he was pretty much saying that if you're working and you're working for money, if you're an employee quadrant, you'll be paying taxes. You pretty much stuffed, because this is going to affect you big time. You're gonna lose your job. You're gonna lose your house, and it's going to be very tough, because the taxes, that when the taxes increases, it's going to be very hard for you to make a payment, even if you have a very good job. What's the point of earning a dollar, and then you have to pay 70 cents from that dollar to the government to pay other debts and other stuff? So you only leave you with 30% maybe. So just as an example, so you can see how things are going. And we getting close to the collapse. So my best advice, and what I'll be doing is concentrating on business, be more business orientated, find multiple places of earning income, passive income legally. And there's lots of seminars, there's lots of places that you can go and you can seek advice, and you can open a small little business, and you can start small and you can think big. And the taxes will be much different for you as a business owner than as an employee. So that's my view for this year 2016. So what would happen is, at the moment, everyone is waiting for this collapse to come. So the market is not growing. People are not putting money on the market, because what for? They know the retirees are going to be, they retiring as we speak, and they all retiring, as we speak right now, and they're going to be withdrawing their super from the stock market. So that's another thing that the market is going to go down again, because they're taking the money out of the stock market. And once they start taking in big amounts, so there's no way the market's going to go up. So Fed is going to have to do QE, and more QE, not quantity easing, and print more money, more fake money. And the result of the whole thing is, if you throw a coin to the air, you know by gravity, that coin is going to fall back down. So it's the same thing with the Fed. So if the Fed prints money, prints a big quantity of money, that money is not going to stay up forever. Eventually it's going to fall down, and it's going to collapse, and it's going to fall really really hard. And if you are dependent on that money, or if you are invested within that curve when it was going up, so when it comes down, you're also going to feel really hard. Let's say if you bought a house when the market was going and they were printing up, and if you bought a house, 5 years from now, you in big trouble at the moment, because once that collapsed, the house, your property is not going to cost what you pay for. So the money you pay for your property is going to be much, much less. So you're going to be losing big time. So um, just an insight, so to let you know what's going on. No, you don't have to take my advice. Like I said, I don't give advices anyway, so this is just my opinion. You can analyze it, you can think outside the box, and you can drop your comments on the bottom. Just say exactly what you think, and if you don't like my channel, you don't like my comments, just don't watch it anymore, and we'll be fine with that. And but I like to wake people up, and I can see it coming. I think most of the people can see it coming, especially the printing. I mean, we never seen so much printing, since 2008, and the whole thing is gonna have to come down. Um, so I'll let you guys in peace. I don't know. I don't have much more to say. I also like to add about Europe actually. Um, we're looking at many different ways that this can happen, and it didn't happen with the Brexit. They sort of camouflaged with the Brexit, but it was close. It was very close to happen with Brexit, but it didn't happen with Brexit. So we got a couple of phenomena that could happen. Could happen with Donald Trump election. It could happen something before, which I probably think Europe. It's in really, really bad shape at the moment, and the Deutsche Bank is in really bad shape at the moment, and it's just showing signs of really, really, really collapse. So most of the investors, they're all already out. The smart money is already out. And the people on the market at the moment are just the people that have no idea what's going on. And they listen advices from amateurs and brokers that have no idea, or either they don't put their money in. They advise you to put their money in, but they themselves don't put their money in. So which is I mean, they do it their job. I mean, I can't blame them for that. I mean, if you don't, then you're not going to have any job really. You might as well look for a different profession, but that's what they advise you to do, or to buy a house, and to look at investing long term, and things like that, uh, when this collapse is really around the corner. So if you think that the market, if you think that there's not a bubble at the moment, then think again, because I mean, how the houses can be 700,000 for 3 bedroom plus a study, what home in a normal suburb, 700,000. Don't you think is a bubble there? For 700,000, nearly $1 million, when a couple of years ago, just a years ago, we going back 8 years ago, 2008 or even 2004, the same property was 300, 350. Now the property is 750 or 700, or nearly $1 million. Don't you think it's a bubble there? I mean, that's what people are trying to tell us, that there's not a bubble. Um, so I'll let you think and make your own opinion out of what's going on. And if you're already in the market and you already bought the house years before, and your market, you can still pay for it, by any means keep your property. And if you can keep it, if you can't make the payments and keep your job, by any means try to do that. The problem is going to be on taxes when taxes go up, and the problem is going to be in inflation go up, and you keeping your job. So that's what the problem is going to be. And like already happened in Europe, and I got friends from Portugal that told me how things went in Portugal, and the bank raises the interest rates, and they were struggling to make a payment. So it was very, very, very bad. And for saying, just an example, and this person that I know had a property and bought a property, and the payment on the property was 900 euros a month. And once the bank and the Troika came in and determined that they wanted the money in Europe, and Portugal couldn't pay, Portugal people couldn't pay, the people that had the mortgage couldn't pay, the banks, they wanted the money right away, they wanted the money now, and they couldn't pay, so a lot of people lost their homes. And a friend of mine, was very dear close friend of mine, was telling me that he actually had to approach the bank and cut a deal with the bank, if he could extend his mortgage from from the 30 years to 50 years, so 20 more years, because the repayment on his loan changed from 900 euros to 1300 euros or so. So he could no longer make the repayment, but he had put his deposit was in the house, he couldn't take it out, he couldn't sell the house because everyone was selling, no one wanted to buy, and he needed to keep the house. So the only way out was he had to increase his mortgage from the 30 years to 50 years, so which brought a lot of depression to the Portuguese community people. And a lot of young people don't didn't want to or don't want to have kids anymore, and they don't have any perspective of working. They when they look to the future, there's no good things in the future for them, so they've decided to just go along with their mom and dad and live with their mom and dad and not want to have kids, not want to be parents, not want to uh, move on with their life because of this depression in Europe. And this is just a few examples that happen in Portugal. So there's different other examples that I heard and I know of people that what happened to them. And I'm just letting out a few things so you can consider it. You know what I mean? If you don't believe or you don't want to know anything about it, at least you should be prepared about it. So if it happens, you prepared. Who cares? If you don't believe of it, who cares? But if it does happen, what you could done, what step you could have, move on to, or how to defend yourself if that would have happened here. Um, so I think, in my opinion, that uh, there's no way out. It will happen. The question is when, and let's hope that most of the people are prepared in Australia. I do know a lot of people who are in real estate and buying a lot of real estate, and some I feel bad for them because they invest for negative gearing, and which means you buy the property and you own money in the property and you have to work harder, and it's better if you're a specialist or a doctor or nurse or things like that, so you can actually get good tax rebates to assist your property. Um, it works well for some time, but I don't think I would have done that because the reason is because it's a negative gearing and you never on top, you're always behind. So every money you make, you always have to pay it back to the taxman. And it's only working okay for the taxman because yeah, you're providing, because you've got a good job, you're providing, you buying houses and you invest in houses so you can help people that can't afford to buy houses. So but how is that helping you in being actually successful and independent? No. Freedom? No. So you have to work more hours, you have to put more hard work into, and so then you can avoid, or not avoid, but you can maybe have better tax uh, leeway and things like that. So I wouldn't go for that. If you doing that, I would suggest you keep a very good eye on what's going on at the moment, and I just hope you all the best if you're doing that. But if you're doing a positive cash flow, which is a great investment, I mean, it's hard. It takes time. You have to manage your property well, and you have to go out there and find good investments that actually make you money. So you coffin money into an investment that actually produce you money back on return, which it makes sense. But the negative gearing is just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, how hard is to go out there and find an investment that's losing money. I mean, you don't have to be smart about it. You just whatever comes along, you just buy it because either way, it's gonna lose money anyway. So, in my opinion, I'll just move on. So we are very close to the end, and be prepared. Uh, 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 Open your eyes, and I'll suggest you invest some money in physical gold and silver, and I suggest you look into open a business. Whatever business is suitable and that you have a lot of knowledge about it, and try to shift yourself from the self-employment or from the employee into a self-employment business owner. If you can do that, there'll be a great opportunity coming for the ones that are doing it. And if you can buy as many physical gold and silver you can, it'll be a great opportunity. And there's also real estate properties investments out there that are still, it's going to be a lot of downturn for properties. So if you're prepared and you have the income and you have the funds and you have the information and the education, it's going to be very good times ahead. So that's all I have to say. And so I wish you all well, and I'll leave you for now. And be well, be good, and be very, very smart on your investments. Okay, guys, see you all later. Ciao.